Welcome to another episode of Indie Comics Shoot and Shill. Happy to have you guys here. I was wrong last time. I said that super chats were enabled. It looks like I was supposed to log into the studio and activate that. Seems that I did not do that, but they should be active now. So if anybody sends any super chats over, I'll be sure and take care of you, send you some digital goodies, all that good stuff. We have Les Garner with us today. He's got some stuff going on. We're going to go and give him a little introduction here.
Hide the realm.
How are you doing, man?
I am busy as hell. It's been hectic.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I keep glancing over at the screen versus the camera, and I'm like, eyeline. I hate that crap. I always hate it when I'm watching some of these things that people are like looking off to the side, which is kind of what I'm doing over here. So,
yeah, cool.
Yeah, man. Just got off a different stream promoting Homestead. So that was about an hour long affair. That was pretty cool.
That's your new project with Dirk, isn't it?
Yep.
No.
Yep.
Cool. We'll have to pull that up here.
Oh man, yeah. Been an interesting day.
Let's see, Homestead. All right, let's get that shared out here. Share screen. There we go.
There she
cool.
be. Yeah, we're up to
15,000 and 20 days to go. Not a bad start.
Yep. Yeah, we were fully funded in about 5 hours, I think.
That's fantastic.
So,
yeah, Dirk is a fantastic writer too.
Yeah, I have said earlier today that personally, this is like when I finished reading the script to this, I called him right up and I was like, dude, I don't give a damn what anybody says is the best thing you've ever written.
Oh, wow.
Like hands down. I was like, I was in the project and everything. And I was working on it and all that and doing stuff for it, sketching and things. And then he sent me the script and I was like, this is good. This is ridiculously good. So I was like, it's the best thing you've ever written. And I'm glad I'm drawing it because it's a hell of a book. So, yeah, I'm really proud of this book, man.
That's cool. You want to watch the trailer?
Yeah, hit it.
Yeah, cool. We'll watch it.
And fun facts about the trailer: I wrote and performed the music, produced the music, and I cut the trailer.
Oh, okay.
So that's some of my junk right there.
Awesome.
Hello, friends. I'm Dirk Manning, the writer and co-creator of Homestead.
I'm Les Garner, co-creator and artist on Homestead.
Homestead is a Native American Western werewolf graphic novel about how far two families will go to protect their way of life and their loved ones. Joining Les and I on this project are colorist Colin Johnson, letterer Dave Lenz, Lakota creative consultant Rob Blackhawk, editor Rita Joe, and of course publisher SourcePoint Press. As always, friends, thank you so much for supporting the projects that I'm involved with my amazing collaborators, and thank you for supporting Good Horror.
That looks awesome, man. That's cool. He hired a collaborator, an actual Native American collaborator.
Yeah, yeah, Raul was friends with him, and helped us keep everything accurate.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that was actually one of the hardest parts of the project because the all of the costuming and character designs and the environments. I mean, everything is really authentic. Oh,
Yeah, there's a lot of lore, or lore, I should say, in the Native American culture about like skinwalkers and
Well, that's actually something.
lichenology and all kinds of stuff like that.
One of the interesting things behind this, and one of the reasons that Dirk brought Rao into the project, was that he had a script written, and he's like, I want to make sure I'm right on this. And he brought Rao in, and there was talk about the whole skinwalker thing. And actually, Lakota is one of the tribes who don't have skinwalkers. So
Okay.
it was kind of interesting, and it was something Rao was very impressed with, was that, you know, the use of shape shifting and the wolf and all that kind of stuff, the way that it's used in this, it's not skinwalkers. It's a different thing from a different branch of Native American lore, specifically from the Lakota. So that was something. I know Dirk was super happy when Raul was like, "Hey, you got this right." It was like, "Oh, good." So,
Oh, wow.
yeah, we were just talking a minute ago about some of there's words used in the book that are Lakota words, and Dirk went through and redid the script um, based on the input from Raul, because he had tried using some Lakota language in the book initially, and Raul was like, "Dude, we don't say that stuff." Yeah. So, and like one of the things Dirk was just talking about, and I thought this was fascinating, is the Lakota don't have a phrase specifically that translates to "I love you." They don't
Oh,
have
really?
no. What they have that we would translate as that, the phrase literally is, "I would suffer for you."
Oh,
It's,
wow.
yeah, it's heavy, man. It's some heavy stuff.
That's really cool.
Yeah. So, you know, little things like that are kind of embedded throughout the story. And the the thing that I initially was worried about with it, of course, the premise of the story is, you know, is homesteading. It's you know, a family going out west. You know, they've been given land in the Homestead Act, and
Right.
you know, I was very nervous at first about the premise of it, because, you know, I thought, and I talked with Dirk about this. I said, you know, I was like, now there's one through line you could take on this, where there's an obvious good guy and an obvious bad guy. And then you could flip that script in exactly the opposite way and have the same through line. And both
Mhm.
of them would appeal to people coming from two different perspectives. I was like, and I'm like, you know, but even scratching the surface a little bit of this stuff, you know, that both of those are tropes. Both of those are kind of BS lines that people will toss around. And he's like, yeah, he's like, we're not doing that. And then that's why when I read the script and I got to the end of it, I was like, dude, I can't believe you managed to thread this needle like you did. And it is profound. Like I cannot sing his praises high enough on the writing of that, because but if there's a bad guy in this book, it's the United States government.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they I mean, I won't give too much of the story away, but you know, but and the story doesn't even focus on them. I mean, they're basically a bad guy who sets up a bad situation, and the story is these two families playing out. So it's wild, man. It's really wild how it all works out.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm real happy with it. I was
Can you
very
show us
happy.
any art off, or is it on the Kickstarter? Is a little bit of art on there?
There should be some art up on the Kickstarter, and
All right, let's take a look at it.
there should be some.
Let's see
And
here.
I will let me pop open while you're doing that. I'm gonna pop open a folder or two on
Oh, here we go.
my computer. Yeah, there's some of the colored pages, and let's see.
Oh, that's a really good one there too.
Oh, I like that one a lot. There's that's actually the last page of what was going to be issue number 1. So it was initially going to be a 4-issue limited series, but we later decided just to do it as a standalone graphic novel. So let me pull up a little preview thing here. So and then let's see here now. So I can go to present.
Yeah, it looks like you can get a hardcover there for $35.
Yep.
Get a double shot. What's that? A soft cover and a hardcover? Yeah,
Mhm.
50. That's cool. Get a little. What is that? 3D printed, little resin printed bust, or?
Yeah. That is actually. I'll show you one of those right here. That's this little guy.
Oh, that's cool.
And this is something that I actually sculpted and produced them out of my shop, along with, when you scroll down, there's like a big guy that's a full werewolf piece that we're doing 13 of those, and they'll be fully painted, and I'm doing all of that.
Oh, wow. And you get a little t-shirt. Yeah, people love shirts. I mean, I keep hearing all this bullshit about people that put up these campaigns, and they're like, oh, well, why are we going to do t-shirts? People don't buy t-shirts. That's a lot of people do buy t-shirts.
So I'm sharing my screen into the back end here, I think. If you
Okay, let me we'll switch it over to you here.
Yeah, I pulled up a
There you
page here that I really, really like.
Yeah, that's nice.
So I'm just going to show these real quick because I don't want Dirk to get mad at me saying I'm showing too much. But there's a council page.
Yeah, there you go.
And so yeah, it's I'm gonna rifle through some stuff there. But let's see. I love that page. That page was very hard to do, and actually the original of that page already sold 6 months ago.
Yeah,
I had that in my portfolio. That's one of the chapter headers.
that's cool.
So there's paintings that were going to be covers and ended up being used as chapter headers. That's the black and white of that piece that was in the trailer. So yeah, it was a hell of a book to work on.
That's an awesome page right there too. I like that layout.
Thanks, man. Yeah, this book was really wild, and it was the first book first stuff that I got done right after having my damn stroke.
This reverse layout stuff is so hard to do right, and it's just perfectly done here. You get like the looking down at the gun, and it's like, and then you see the sight down towards the enemy. That's just like that's what you call continuity. straight flows right there. That's great.
Thanks, man. That's something that I really put a lot of thought into in any book and any pages that I do, is that kind of layout.
Yeah,
I've probably burned through 8 or 10 copies of comics and sequential art in my time, man, from Will Eisner.
Yeah.
If I'm going to say something potentially controversial to some people. It's like, if you're going to sit down and draw comics and you haven't read comics and sequential art, stop, please. Just go ahead and stop.
That's not controversial. That's
step
one.
Yeah, you need to go back. You need to read that, How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way, and Understanding Comics from Scott McCloud. If you haven't done that, like, I get people asking me for work, asking me to help them get work and all that. I'm like, have you read these books? If yes, maybe we'll talk. If no, Don't bother me.
Right. Yeah, and it's a lot. People don't understand that it's a lot different than like writing screenplays for movies and stuff like that. It's different. You always want that, like the bottom right hand corner of the page, to be able to turn and navigate through the story a little bit better. Like, see right here how there's something interesting happening here. It makes you want to turn the page and find out what's going on next.
Well, and then the flow, like a lot of people find it constraining how there's this Z shape that the composition of the page makes. But if you can play with that a little bit. You can do little things, little twiddly things here and there that kind of mess around with it. But you do not ever want to deviate too far off of that, or your page becomes unreadable.
Yeah, and see, I like the 4-panel. That's how I write, is 4-panel structures per page, because you got 1, 2, 3, and then 4, and then you flip the page, and you can do any panel in any different size. Like, pick the most interesting one, kind of make it big, and then make all the other stuff on the side or above it or below it. That's fantastic layout.
Thanks. This page is a good example of one of the things I like to point out to people when I'm talking about, comic art and comics as a storytelling form is, people are like, well, why wouldn't I just watch a movie?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's fair in a lot of cases, but movies don't break panels. They don't break panels, and they don't lead you from moment to moment with a visual element the same way. There's overlap. There's things that they do that you also do in comics. There's things that are similar, but there are things comics can do that you just cannot do in anything else. Not really. So, and this page, I'm very happy with. I feel like it's a good example of that. The way that like you were saying, him looking down the sights points you to the next moment.
Right.
So I like that stuff.
Great work. Cool. I'm gonna get that. Is that all you wanted to share?
I won't be careful about sharing too much. I don't want to make Dirk mad at me. Oh, there's a good page.
Oh, there you go.
Big transformation page. She's like leaping off the horse and then transforming as she gets down there. But yeah, Dirk's gonna get mad at me if I show too much of that. He's gonna be like,
yeah, he might.
Be like, you're giving away the story, man.
You're giving away the whole thing.
Let's see. I tell you what. Let's pull up a couple of pages from earlier in the story, because these are some really good ones here too. This one here needed to have my page template knocked out of it. So the way that I work most of the time is I pencil digitally, but I ink traditionally. So I'll pencil digital and I'll print a blue line out from a high quality printer on illustration paper, and I'll ink that.
Right.
So
it says, Mindy says, the more I learn about the difference between screenwriting and comic book writing, the more I appreciate the comic book writing. And she also has a question. Where is the story set? What state?
It is. Oh, I'm gonna make myself look stupid here for a second. I believe South Dakota.
Yeah. They're the tribe, but I mean, yeah, it makes sense. It would be South Dakota.
The Lakota.
Lakota. Yeah.
Yeah. Lakota tribe from South Dakota. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I looked over more.
I think
I feel like if I ever go to South Dakota, I'm already going to be familiar with the place from how much I've stared at images of the scenery.
I think the Lakota tribe went from South Dakota up into a little bit of Montana, if I'm not mistaken.
That sounds about right. Yeah, that was a lot of fun stuff there.
Cool.
Yeah. I'm gonna kill that screen share.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
So there we go. Yeah, I don't want Dirk to get too mad at me.
That's true.
Yeah.
What else you got here? Original art hunters.
Yeah.
That's a T-shirt, page out of the book. And
I don't know if he said how many of the original pages we're doing, but I don't know that there's even a limit on that, except for the one or two that I've already sold. I think I've already sold 2 of the original pages before people even knew what the book was. I was doing a sign in Knoxville.
There's 14 left, it says, out of 20.
Okay, cool.
For the original art tier.
Yeah, I was doing a signing in Knoxville back in the summer, and of course I finished this book up. Actually, this book's been done, my end of it done since like I think June.
Right.
So, but I was doing a signing in Knoxville shortly after that, and had a couple of the original pages from it in one of my portfolios out on the table. And this one guy's an art collector, and he was like, "I want those." And I was like, "Well, you can have those, sir. That can be arranged." Like,
and it looks like you got the Spirit of the Wolf there for $333. That includes the little small bust, the hand painted one you were talking about, a hardcover, and a shirt.
Yep. And then we've got retailer tiers and stuff up there too. So,
oh, that's cool.
Yeah, we always do. I know Dirk likes to do. I like on the stuff that I'm on with people, like doing retailer tiers.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, if you make it to where the retailers can get in on it, that just helps you guys out and improves the readership as well.
That's the hope.
Yeah.
So far it's doing pretty well. I mean, this is definitely the most successful Kickstarter I've been on so far. It's the second one I've been on, so I guess that's not too bad.
That's cool. Looks like you guys unlocked some stretch goals too.
Oh yeah, we had
got a book plate that's signed.
I think we had 5 or 6 stretch goals unlocked within 48 hours.
Yeah.
So we're creeping up into the higher stretch goals now. So if we can, at 16K, which we're on our way there, at 16K, it opens up for silver embossing on the front cover.
Yeah.
And that's going to look cool.
And then 18K is every Kickstarter will have be upgraded for a third time, this time with silver gilded pages. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, this book is going to be a pretty book when it's all said and done, especially if we can unlock all the stretch goals, man. The book is going to be gorgeous. And I'm just kind of sitting there. I'm like, please do this, because, it's like that upgrades my copies of it.
Yeah. How many pages is the book in total?
It's 100 pages of story. It's 100 pages. It's I think it's actually 96 pages of story with 4 paintings interspersed in it. So it comes out to 100 pages plus other material at the end. And then I don't know if we unlocked it yet. I think we unlocked a couple of short stories going in and some other artwork going in. And yeah, it keeps growing. So it's a little hard for me to keep up with it.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
Thanks.
I think it looks awesome. So what else are you into? You getting into anything else?
Oh, Lord. Let's see. Right now, I'm actually working on, I'm doing 9 pages of an anthology for Scott Snyder. So there's a horror anthology that he's doing through another publisher that I work with sometimes, who Scott does a writing workshop, and then he puts together horror anthologies from the writers in that workshop. And one of those writers has asked for me to be the artist on their stuff. So that's turned into a thing and is moving forward. Then let's see what else. Oh, Lord. There's a publisher for whom I'm doing a single. It's currently 24 pages, but it may grow to 48. Single standalone book about Elizabeth Bathory. And that's going to be... That's probably that's been sitting for a minute. It's probably going to be another 6 to 8 months before that hits. There's things that are right on the horizon in the immediate future. Of course, we'll be doing, I think, In May, I think we'll be doing a Kickstarter for part 2 of Reign of Dracula. Then I'm not entirely sure of the dates on some of this stuff because I'm kind of weird. Like I make the stuff, and I typically end up having somebody work with me who is into doing management and all that kind of things to help run stuff like Kickstarters or run other things because I typically am just so busy making stuff. And we've got Mindy's asking who's Elizabeth Bathory. Elizabeth Bathory, if you're into vampire stuff, the historical figures mostly used for vampire stuff or attributed to as vampires are, Vlad Tepes, Vlad the Impaler. Everybody knows him. And the lesser known, but I think equally interesting one is Elizabeth Bathory. Elizabeth Bathory was a Romanian queen, aristocrat who believed that she could extend her life and beauty by bathing in the blood of virgin girls taken from the villages.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's dark and it's got a real dark, sexy overtone to it. It's going to be a lot of fun because I don't normally dip into that stuff very much, but that one's going there a little bit. See, I think Prometheus in Chains #6 is coming out soon that I did the cover for. Actually, #6 I did the inks for inside and the cover. And if you haven't checked out that series, that's from Rich Davis, who did Cult of Dracula, the writer on that. And Prometheus in Chains, I was brought in to do covers, the A covers and B covers for all 6 issues. And then the interior artist ended up having a scheduling conflict on some things, came up at the last minute for issue 6. So they asked me to step in and do inks over his pencils, which I was like, all right, I'll do it. So that worked out pretty well, which is kind of interesting because it actually ties into Rich's other book, Reign of Dracula, that I'm the main artist on. So it's weird how the art goes from Jordan, the guy who's on the interior, that goes from his look and his inks to his pencils with my inks, which kind of does this weird. It's interesting because it ties into Reign of Dracula and it almost gives an artistic transition between the two. It's kind of neat. So Reign of Dracula, Prometheus in Chains, I did all these covers, but I did a ton of other artwork related to it for different reasons and different uses. And we're actually going to be putting together an art book. So I forgot how many pages. I know there's like 30 some pieces of art. So putting together an art book that just showcases these covers. Then there's some paintings and stuff that I did. And then there's some hybrid digital art that's like painted combined with 3D rendered stuff. And because I also do a lot of 3D stuff. What else we got coming up? We got outside of comics, I just completed all the artwork for a board game called Auto Clash. So sometime in the next few months, that's going to get a Kickstarter. That's actually a contract gig, but I'm super happy with it. It's a cool game. It's a well-made game. And then a personal project of mine coming soon is a tarot deck loosely based on the world of H.P. Lovecraft's work, Cthulhu mythos, but it's a tarot deck with a story because at different times in my career, I've actually I made my living for about 10 years doing almost entirely nothing but Lovecraft related artwork. And from that time till just a few years ago, I wrote a lot of short stories that I never published them. I didn't know where or how to actually publish these. I know it seems crazy, and all of these short stories had a central either villain or he was a side character. And there was a character of mine that I created for these stories. He touched all of them in some way, if not being the main character. And it's a very Lovecraft thing, professors and stuff. It's this guy, character named Dr. Horace Van Meter, who this tarot deck. The meta story of it is that I was approached by the estate of Dr. Van Meter to put together his, try to coalesce together the results of his years of experimentation and exploration into, the all things Cthulhic, and create a method of divination for that in the form of a tarot deck. And I say a meta story because, it's like I've talked about this a bunch of places that, I had a double stroke a year ago. And so we kind of worked the stroke into the story that delving too deeply into the lore, into Van Meter's works, opened me up to, otherworldly forces or whatever that nearly destroyed me, that kind of thing. It's silliness, but honestly, it's a good way to have some fun with something that was actually a really crappy thing that happened. So, but yeah, that I'm really excited for the tarot deck because so we've planned out a bunch of things with it. So there'll be a normal size version of it, then an oversized deluxe version of the deck. Give me just a second. I'll pull up some of the artwork to that. That's mine. I don't care if I give away spoilers.
So, cool.
Yeah, it's actually, I think it's some of my best work to date. Like, I'm super, super proud of this stuff.
Speaking of that stuff, the stroke that happened to you and stuff, how's your therapy going? You doing better?
Oh, they kicked me out of therapy 5 months ago.
Oh, that's good.
They, they're like, oh, you're doing well enough. Insurance doesn't want to pay for it anymore, so get out. So, but the thing is, I didn't today because I've been on live streams. See, I had court this morning. I had like a whole first half of my day full of meetings and stupid crap I had to take care of, stupid life crap. And then the other half of the day was all packed with doing live streams and stuff like that. So I haven't been able to get to the gym today, which is weird because most days I'll pull 3 to 6 hours in the gym.
Yeah.
And that's what's even the therapy people, they're like, yeah, you're doing more than we are. They're like, we're just showing you some little tricks and things here and there. But so, yeah, I work out pretty constantly, busting my chops to get my arm back. And so, yeah, I was a year ago this time, I was fully left side paralyzed.
Right.
So, and there he goes. Hey. So the hand is kind of, the fingers will move a little bit right now. I've got a little more use out of them. I've got the arm back mostly down to the wrist, and my leg is probably 90% back. Like, I can't really throw a good front kick with it yet, but it's getting there. So let me let's pop over here and I'll show you guys some more cool stuff. Let's see, share screen, window. Let's pull this up. So this is Dr. Horace Van Meter. And the character, I added a couple cards to the tarot deck, and one of them is for him. I think I called it the Architect or something like that. And then I added a card called the Creator, and it's a card of Lovecraft. So, and that was...
that's cool.
That's Randolph Carter. And deep Lovecraft people will probably recognize a lot of the names from these. His name's escaping me right now. That's the thing too, is like after a while working on the stuff, it all starts to blur together, and I'm just like, but she was cool. I think she is this guy's like great granddaughter or something like that. Then I like that one. That one's the High Priestess of Shub-Niggurath. And I would try, I know who that is, but screw it trying to say that name, because it's a bunch of consonants strung together with apostrophes. And I literally forgot his name. But so Yeah, I'm super, super happy with this. I've also been really pleasantly surprised that at showing this stuff at like shows and stuff, we've
Yeah.
the response from women has been amazing. So yeah, I love the kid. I love that kid. But yeah, it's just a totally different approach to artwork for me. And it was something, it's like it's weird. It's a very male thing to kind of have almost a monochromatic way of seeing things. Like I know that I don't see color all that vividly, and I tend to like to paint monochromatically. That one I love. That's the elder thing. So this was a chance for me to like exploit that a little bit because the whole sepia tone sort of thing really plays well into the Cthulhic, the Lovecraft vibe. So
Right.
that was the city of Relia, the place where Cthulhu supposedly sleeps. So then let's see. There's Cthulhu. So
Mindy says, looks really fantastic. Not surprised women love it. We generally love tarot decks and good art. Yeah, that's because y'all are all witches.
that's my take on Dagon. I really like that character. So my partner on this, Charles, really liked that one a lot for some reason, and I like it, but I'm like he really likes it. I'm like, okay, this is one of my favorites right here, and it was just a card of the lovers.
Yeah, that's really good.
So I was very happy with that. The deep ones, I love those. I love those creatures. They're really funny. And I intentionally made the artwork of him kind of so that you don't have anything to actually judge the scale of the creature by, because in Lovecraft lore, the deep ones will grow as large as the environment will let them.
Right. I really like that monster. That is a really good monster right there.
Thank you, man. That's my my take on the Hierophant. And that was kind of fun. Oh, who was that? Azathoth. Azathoth, the creeping chaos. Now that one was a wild piece of artwork to do. That one I did. Actually, a lot of this stuff is very hybridized between 3D and painting.
Right.
Like this guy, I actually have a 3D sculpt that is that, and I pose and light the sculpt, and then use the render from that as the basis for fleshing out the rest of the artwork. And then my boy Nyarlathotep, the mouthpiece of the gods. I love that character. He's so creepy.
Mindy wants to know what the death card looks like.
Which one did I do as the death card? I'm trying to remember which one I did as the death card. I've got them all labeled, but the label doesn't show up on here because I did them in sequence. I have to look. I can find that out though. Let's see. I should have to open it up elsewhere. So give that a second and I'll let her know. But yeah, that's a good place to stop on right there. That's my portrait of Lovecraft for the creator card. Let's see here now. Oh, okay. Magician, Empress, High Priest, Emperor.
Yeah, that stuff's cool, man.
I'm let's see. Wheel of Fortune. Yeah, I have in a file over here. Oh, I did. I have Cthulhu to death. Yeah, of course I should have remembered that. Cthulhu is representative of death. Because he the boss. Cthulhu is like the one,
So Cthulhu's the death card.
Yeah. Yeah. And specifically, I chose him for that because of the real famous line from Lovecraft that says, "Not dead, which eternal lies, and even to strange eons, death may die." It's an inscription on a in one of the stories. It's a thing inscribed on a statue of Cthulhu.
Wow.
So, dude, I get wild in the Lovecraft lore, man. I've been reading Lovecraft since I was a little kid. So, I mean, I did like a 30-page dissertation on Lovecraft in I think my senior year of high school. It was like a big thing for an AP English class.
Yeah.
Definitely my favorite writer of all time is Lovecraft. Moon Beasts. So I'm really hopeful in how this will do, because I there's a real market out there for this kind of stuff. And then I have an associate who's worked with me on it as kind of a consultant, because I'm not a big tarot person. I'm not really into a lot of stuff, but I like the idea of the tarot as a framework for doing a body of artwork.
Right.
I mean, it's really good for that. And so I consulted with a friend who is into that stuff to make sure that, that I was interpreting meanings and stuff and then drawing the stuff in. And so there's actually a lot of research put into it for putting the things together from Lovecraft with the tarot, which my understanding about how people think of tarot makes this a dark as hell tarot. Like I've had a couple of folks. I was out at a show in Kansas, out in West Kansas, I think maybe 2 weeks ago, and had prints of a lot of this stuff available there, and had the first prototype deck out where people could, flip through it and mess with it, and I was just kind of gauging response. And one, the chicks dig the hell out of it, and two, the chicks who were flipping through it, who were into that stuff, were like, oh, they're like, oh, this is dark. I'm like
What you could do too is also make like some specialty like variant pieces or whatever.
Oh, where
you can like do like foil and like iced out versions of like certain cards, or like maybe a glow in the dark red death card or something.
Well, something we're going to do on the Kickstarter as a reward. This is probably going to be at the highest tier. While we do have the minor arcana worked out for the deck, which is all the numerical cards, those are all done, and that's fine. We can run with that. But when we launch this thing, there will be a tier where you can pick a card from the minor arcana and have yourself, have me draw you in this style, do a piece of artwork of you in the style, and you become that card.
You could even like expand it a little bit further and do like storybook cards, like the trifold, because they have that in sports now. A lot of baseball cards, they look like one card, but they're super thick, right? But you can open them up and trifold it, and then it would like unveil like a story inside, as well as like a little specific part of like the card itself or something.
See, that dovetails well with another aspect of what's going to be happening with this. So the artwork is all done at stupidly high resolution, which I always do, because I like for the stuff to be able to go into different places. And so the base tier will have just a normal deck with a nice little box. There you go. Thank you very much. Then the next, there'll be a mid tier that focuses on a larger, more deluxe version of the deck with a nicer box and a thicker booklet and things with it. But then there'll be a higher tier that has the nice deck and an actual art book that contains all of this art at like a coffee table size book. And then with that, there'll be numerous of those. I was talking about how I wrote those stories through the years. Well, we're going to take a bunch of those stories and put those in the art book. So there'll be a whole other tier, a whole crazy level of stuff that goes with that. then there's the amount of Lovecraft stuff I've done through the years means that there's a lot of ways that this thing's going to get some really enticing, stretch goals and stuff added to it. And, yeah, I'm super excited about it. So
That's awesome. Let's see if I can find an example of that. I know that I have seen them. Where is it? Yeah, here you go. I will share that. Present, share. You see that right there?
yeah,
That is all one card.
huh?
And it folds over the top. And it's the size of one single baseball card, but it opens up like over here, and it opens up over here, and then you have a 3-card section that will lay flat if you so desire. And you could do like just like a story right here. You could do like maybe a little piece of cloth or something, say that it ties to it, or a little medallion or a jewel. And then right here, you could have the actual card itself. They could be like really high collector chase variants of what you're doing.
Oh, that gives me some wild ideas for gaming.
It's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, you could take that trifold thing and actually have the trifold card be part of the mechanics of a game.
Yeah, you could.
Yeah, that's an interesting idea.
Yeah.
The guy who's working with me on this as a consultant / publisher is he's big into this stuff. Gentleman named Charles Moissant, great dude. He's got a handful of different things he's done through the years, but he really does a lot of games. He does a lot of stuff with games and works for different people developing stuff. So we're getting ready to do a bunch of publishing of like games and the card deck, and we got all kinds of goofy stuff coming up. But
that's cool.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So it's been it's funny because it's been a strangely busy year for having had a damn stroke. So
that's how it works out sometimes. You think you're at a disadvantage, and then it just business doubles. It kind of works out sometimes that way.
It's been actually kind of cool in a way that that in the shadow of doing that, in the shadow of having the stroke, I've managed to shift my income almost entirely over to comics. So that's really nice. I'm very happy about that because I love doing the 3D stuff, and I did the 3D stuff. I've been involved in 3D stuff since, God, man, freaking DOS. And, it kind of, the 3D stuff overtook comics for me a very long time ago, like in the late 90s. And, it was cool. It was fun. It was good. It was cool. It was great for a very long time, but I've always missed comics. And I started working on Apocalypse Girl actually back in like 2013 is when I first started messing with that. And it was because I had ended up doing a bunch of 3D work for Brian Haberlin from Todd McFarlane Productions. And Brian, I was doing.
Brian's a fantastic creator. I love Brian.
Well, I did. If you see his big thick graphic novel called Anomaly,
mm-hmm.
it all looks painted inside, but really, it's mostly 3D. It's 3D that he's done overpaints to, and a lot of the assets. I mean, a lot of what you see in that book is overpaints on 3D assets that were made in my studio. Myself and my son worked on it.
Oh wow!
Then the augmented reality app for it, which I think was the first augmented reality app in comics. We did all the animation and 3D development for that. So
That's cool.
it was pretty neat. And I ended up worked on, I think, 3 or 4 projects with Brian. And at one point, I'm just casually chatting with him. And I was like, dude, I miss comics. I miss doing comics. And he's like, I didn't know you did comics. I'm like, that's how I started. And he's like, why don't you do them? I was like, why don't you hire me? He's like, come up with something to do it. And I was like, all right. So we, would kind of touch base on it every once in a while in conversation. And I came up with Apocalypse Girl. Ended up becoming, kind of a thing. It did really well back in 2020, and which was kind of ironic. But Volume 1 came out right before COVID hit. I had 35 shows scheduled for that year, and I got to do 1. So that sucked. But the book still sold really well, and it did well enough that it opened a bunch of doors for me into working with other, I ended up having a bunch of different people want to start working with me on stuff. And it really opened doors with a lot of the guys at Source Point. And that just kind of took off. And I've ended up doing a lot of covers and stuff since then. And yeah, staying busy as hell with comics. So, which, all that said, I can always be busier. So,
yeah. Brian did a lot of work, I think, with Spawn too, didn't he? And he also had like 3 or 4 things.
Brian did colors for a long run of Spawn. At one point, he was CEO of Todd McFarlane's company,
Right.
Todd McFarlane Productions, and he did the colors on Spawn. He wrote a bunch of Spawn with Todd. He did. He had a series called Stone that was really good. It didn't do that well, but it was really good.
Remember, there's this one creator-owned title of his. It was a space story.
Yeah, the only space story of his I'm familiar with is Anomaly that I worked on.
I don't think it was Anomaly. It was something else.
I
can't remember.
He had another thing after Anomaly that I worked on called Between Worlds. There was a couple other things. Honestly, don't remember because I was. It's so funny, man, working as a contract guy on a lot of stuff. Like you get the work lined up and you start knocking it out, and sometimes if you do enough of it, it blurs together. Like
right.
I can look back over. It's like. Take somebody who's been a plumber for 30 years and ask him about the house he worked on 10 years ago. He ain't going to remember that house.
This is true.
So, it's like that. Oh, yeah. I brought her up just because I like her. It's like, which card was she? I'll tell you. She was, where's she at? Come on. Got to scroll through some stuff to see her. Pathilolit or something like that. Her name is like PTH''THYA-L''YT. She's the Queen of Pentacles in my deck.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, so anywhere that there's an elder sign, that star, that's what I've replaced the pentacles with, is the elder signs. Then the cups are always these specific chalices that I drew up. Instead of swords, it's these kind of ceremonial daggers. What was the other one? It all kind of runs together. See, it was Oh yeah, and I did the suits instead of pentacles, swords, cups, and I forgot what the other one was. I think rods. Yeah, rods. I did the elder.
Faster than light. Mindy remembers.
Okay,
That's what it was. It was faster than light.
I don't think I ever saw that one.
Yeah. It was fantastic. Faster than lights. I've been sitting here racking my brain trying to find it.
Yeah, Mindy, the suits on this are there's daggers, chalices, elder signs, and tomes. The books are tomes, so you'll see like different characters. There's some of them that'll have these. There's one that's like a wizard guy with these pages floating in the air around him. What was it? Which character was he? Oh yeah, Wilbur Watley is that guy. So, man, the Lovecraft lore is, good Lord, is it thick?
Yeah.
Very, very thick.
Yeah, there's a lot of fun stuff you could do with it.
Oh yeah.
Cool.
Well, we're also thinking about doing a. And this is tricksy. This won't happen right off the bat, but we're seriously thinking about doing taking all the artwork from this and taking all the characters and building up D&D 5e stat blocks and backstory and stuff like that, and also doing basically a 5e supplement book out of all of these, because there's enough there to do it. Especially I think that'd be really cool too once we've got all the minor arcana and opening it up for people where if they want, for part of the stretch goal, they can be included in that, and then they become part of the lore. So I really like the idea of the tarot deck becoming a vehicle through which, like, myself and other people I know and people who want to get involved with it literally can have this place where they are written into the Lovecraft lore. So I feel like there's a lot of folks who probably dig that.
Yeah, it'd be interesting for sure.
So, but yeah, that's the next big thing on the horizon right now for me is the Lovecraft Tarot, man. That thing it's a lot of work. I mean, there's 72 cards in the entire thing, which once you get into the minor arcana. So I think in mine there's 44 major arcana because I add 2 cards to it. So
awesome.
I thought I heard like kids or something.
That is cool, man. So what do you when you do the 3D modeling stuff? What software do you use?
Oh, primarily ZBrush and Maya. Yeah, ZBrush.
And you
Maya.
did all the 3D modeling for those wolf sculptures and all that stuff?
Yeah, I can probably open that up and show you some of that real quick.
Awesome.
Put some out.
Samuel says the tarot gives so much space for creativity. A quick example is Marilyn Manson's Hollywood album from 2000. Has so much cool stuff there.
Hollywood was a good album. I really liked that. So let's see. I'm gonna put a good shader on this, and then let's pop over here, and we'll stop sharing that, and then do. Let's see. Share screen. Window. I'm gonna share ZBrush. So this is the big guy from Homestead.
Oh wow.
So and the paint job in here is just a quick digital paint job, as a demo, give me a color guide to work from. So zoom in and lots of little triangles.
Lots of little triangles.
Lots of little triangles. So that's one. Let me see if we got.
It's got to be at least what 30 million there, somewhere around there.
It's 5.8 million.
Oh, okay.
So why is this? There he is, and that's the digital sculpt for the head that you saw there. So that's this guy right here.
Yeah, it looks like 1 billion hours of work. Yep, that's for sure.
It can be. It doesn't have to be. I mean, like, it all pretty much is like, let's see, throw open a little sphere out here, and then we'll make a poly mesh from it, and we'll zoom in on it. And I'm gonna doodle on this for a second, and so you can just kind of see a little bit of what we do here. So, and this is kind of weird because in order to be able to use this software, you have to be able to do key commands. I mean, it requires key commands, but
Right.
Since I can't because of my left hand, I found these pedals that have that you can buy OEM for like inventors, and you hook them to your computer via USB, and you can program what keys they fire. So like, I've got these 6 pedals under my desk that I use with my feet. So like right now, if I want to zoom in and out, I have to hold control and the right click on my pen, and I'm holding the control with my left foot. So that was something that I had worked out before I left the hospital. I was in the hospital for 6 weeks, and I'd worked that out before then, and had the pedals waiting on me when I got home. So let's do that. Turn that on. So let's put something a little shinier on here. So like right now, I'm just kind of spitballing on digital clay. Smooth all that out. And if you go to my YouTube channel, I've got a ton of videos up where I've screen capped the work on all kinds of stuff. And you can see the stuff in real time being developed. That's kind of neat. I dig watching that stuff. So like if I wanted to turn this into, I don't know, some kind of a bust, I might start pulling up here and get it. Start working some shape out of it. Let's do some inflate. Start pulling some stuff out here. I actually really do enjoy doing this stuff. I've done it for some large corporate clients for so long that I'm actually glad to be getting away from it in that vein. I've really enjoyed doing the stuff as collectibles. You know, that's a lot of fun. And there's a technical side. See, on the side of 3D that I've normally done as a contractor, I get hired as what's called a technical director.
Right.
So when you see the rigging inside one of these things that animators are using, most of the time, the job that I get called on to do is actually engineering the rigging that goes into the stuff so that it can be animated. But a lot of times I'll end up having to do, all kinds of jobs in the course of that, because if you're doing the rigging, you're going to end up touching everything else at some point. So let's do let's see, it's that little thing right there. This is kind of cool. I like this. So there's that. Just spitball something wild off of this. Make some kind of funky alien shape out of it. This is actually the first time I've had ZBrush open in a couple of weeks, so it's kind of cool. Let's make those kind of smaller. And then blow these up into like some horns. I'm thinking, I just watched a movie the other day on Netflix that, like, my expectation of Netflix is low. I expect everything on there to be woke garbage. And there was a movie called Damsel starring Millie Bobby Brown. That's a fantasy flick. And I was like, I saw the preview for it, and the preview looked really good. I was like, there's no way this is actually decent. There's no way this is not a woke bunch of garbage. Well, it has about 4 lines in the movie that qualify as truly woke garbage, but I'm glad I stuck around through them because the rest of the movie is excellent. And I think I got dragons on the brain because the whole thing kind of focuses around a dragon and this whole sort of take on a classic dragon story kind of thing. So let's take that and go. Yeah. And yeah, all 3D guys end up making mouth sound effects when they're sculpting. You start pulling on stuff, you're like, meow. You know, you can't help it, man. You all of a sudden you're like 4. Yeah, I dig doing this stuff. I did a live stream. I live streamed a lot of this stuff for quite a few months, kind of hoping it would take off. And, you know, just the amount of time and energy that I could put into it really, it got diverted because I needed to do other stuff. I needed to do my client stuff. But so here we go. This is, the 3D guys call this quick stuff spit sculpt.
Mindy says she makes noises when she draws too.
So, just, yep, there we go.
Yep.
So then I'll block in an area here for eyes.
So what are you doing, like making it do it equal on both sides? Like, how does that work?
Oh, it's a setting up here for symmetry.
Oh.
So yeah, and what's neat is, like, say we grab a different sphere and go over here, and if I want to do something really wild, this is kind of funky. If I go over into my symmetry here and activate symmetry, I can also turn on 2-way or 3-way symmetry. So, like, if I turn it on all 3 axes, you see where the little thing comes up, and see, yeah, it puts that all the way around it.
Oh wow, that is cool.
So you can do some insanely intricate stuff really quick like that. And let me see where my Dynamesh go. Geometry, Dynamesh, here we are. So do that, and I'll polish that back out. And, like, there's some really slick tricks you can pull that I like quite a bit. So, like, let's take this guy right here. Let's make it lower resolution again because I'm about to build up on it. Then let's do increase the resolution twice, delete the lower. Then I'm going to come in here and do a mask, right? And so with the mask, say I draw some wild shape all over this thing. Here's some big twiddlies. That's a technical art term for you folks who care. Big twiddlies. Let's see. So there's, come back here. So then I'm going to make a group out of that, then we'll smooth the edges of that out. And then let's see.
Samuel says, I stopped breathing when I color digitally. I got that thing while working on paper when I was a kid or a teenager because my hands shake a bit. So it was his solutions. Now it's permanent thing.
So I just extruded that stuff. Let's see. Let's do boom, boom, and then polish that back a little bit. So then now you see that's been extruded out of that surface. So there's so much crazy stuff you can do with it. Like this guy right here, like if I wanted to do a add some volume back here into his neck, and then what's that race in D&D? The dragon people. I forgot what they're called. Man, I feel stupid for that right now. So let's mask this stuff off, and then I can mask it off. There we go. And then we can come over here and let's do project. I want to do extraction, pop, and let's go a little thicker than that. I said thicker. That's too thick. There we go. So then that pops off a copy based on that masking. And then we'll come in here and just start to hammer this stuff down. And then I can, so like say I wanted to have a bust of a dragon head, dragon-headed humanoid wearing a hood. So here we go, like, let's build up some shape right here. Get kind of crazy with it. This stuff's actually pretty damn addicting to get into doing. So start pulling some of that down. Had some fun with that. Smooth some of that back.
That is awesome.
You can see where it's headed,
Yeah.
Let's see. And I really like being able to offer stuff like this. I've got a number of Kickstarters coming together, and I think a lot of them are going to be offering stuff like this, as statuary and busts and things, because why not, We run, we got 6 printers in the shop here that we run. So we do a lot of that kind of stuff. I mean, I'll be like for Homestead, I'm going to be doing all the fulfillment right here in the shop.
Right.
So, and if stuff were to blow up or it needed to go larger than that, then, we could outsource to different, different places and things like that. But I do like having the facilities here to do it. We can do some wild stuff, dude.
I've got a resin printer and a 3D printer myself, so we also did all of our own 3D printed stuff for our Boobs 2 campaign.
Nice. Well, if you ever need any custom sculpts done, hit me up.
We definitely do on occasion. We're going to be doing G-Busters, and I need some edits done to some heads.
Well, I can probably hook you up pretty well with that.
Yeah.
So that's That's a thing, man. That's a thing that I've done for a long, long time. It's actually not a bad way to get going on one of those. Why am I drawing a blank on what they're called? Ugh, that drives me nuts. Let's bring these guys in. I don't like those that much.
I have no idea what they're called. I'm not into D&D or anything like that.
Yeah.
It looks cool though.
I've been a D&D nerd since I was about 10 years old, dude. That's like right in there with comics. It's always been a big thing for me. One of the like old guard of D&D artists, a guy named Larry Elmore.
Yeah.
And he actually comes from here. He comes from not far from where I grew up. And that was like a big thing for me, man. Coming up in Eastern Kentucky, loving D&D and all that kind of stuff. And then hitting my late teens and finding out that one of the guys in the way the stuff all looks was actually from just a few miles from home, man. That's a very, that's a good feeling, you know. That's one of those things. It's like, yeah, you know, just because you're hillbilly doesn't mean you can't do this stuff, man. Oh. Come back here, you. So yeah. Anywho.
Remember, you get free digital goodies if you use the super chat feature. I'm dying for someone to try it. I don't care if it's just for $2. I just want to see it work.
What does it take to get super chats enabled, man? I have no idea.
You have to have 1,000 subscribers on YouTube and like 4,000 watch hours.
Huh. That's wild. Yeah,
today is like the first day I've had it enabled. I thought it was enabled like a week ago, but apparently I had to go in to the studio, the YouTube studio, and fill in a bunch of like tax information and stuff. And I just thought they automatically did it, but they don't.
Yeah, this stuff is fun. There's like it's a good quick little sample, and so you can render it here. So like there's a quick render, but then there's all kinds of ways that you can tweak that stuff. That's really kind of neat. Let's grab this one. So,
I really want to print that out now.
Do you do your own slicing, man?
Do what?
Do you do your own slicing for your prints?
No, the software does it for me.
I mean, setting up supports and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I do all that stuff myself. That's fine.
Oh, that's cool. I hate that part.
Yeah, that stuff's real easy.
Yeah, I despise doing supports. I mean, I can do them, but I'm so damn picky with them that it's just I'm very anal about them.
Yeah, the software I use two different ones. Well, for my Bamboo, I've been using the Bamboo software because I've been really interested to see how it gets developed and the features that they've added. It's not as good as, you know, the leading 3D printer software, but they have been putting a lot of time into it. And I kind of like the direction and the ease of use of having it. And then I use for my resin printer, I use Chitubox or
Chitubox,
whatever it is.
Chitubox.
Yeah.
Now, for all my resin stuff, I started out with Chitubox, and I do a subscription to Lychee Slicer, and I'll tell you, man, Lychee. There's stuff Lychee will do that'll blow your mind.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, yeah. Like you can paint supports on. So like you turn on paint supports and you literally just brush over an area, and it like you can tell it how far apart to put supports and things like that. And you brush over an area and it just goes, okay, stick those in. So, and then there's ways that you can edit the supports. Yeah, Lychee, from my take on it, Lychee is the gold standard for doing that stuff, man. It's wild. It's really good software. And I think the subscription is like $5 a month, so it's not even that bad. Yeah.
Yeah, and for my filament printer, I use Bamboo Studio.
I had a nice big double-headed filament printer in here, and I sold it. I hate screwing with filament printer.
Mine is the Bamboo Labs. I have an AMS, so I can put like 4 at a time in it.
And
it just automatically switches between the 4. And I could hook up 2 more AMSs, and that would give me a full 12 colors if I wanted it.
That's wild, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is.
The bad thing is if you're printing in colors, if you don't like mentally prepare your print like ahead of time, you could waste like a bunch of filament, because every time it changes, like you might be changing out for every layer of filament 3 times, and it burns off that excess like every 3 times.
Oof.
Like 3 times during one layer, you know what I mean? It can add a lot of time to the print. So if I'm doing like big stuff, I really like the resin printer, and then just hand painting it so much faster.
Yeah. I enjoy painting and stuff anyway, so painting minis is like something I've really missed. You know, my left hand is finally up to a point where I can use the fingers enough to like I can actually hold some minis and stuff now and be able to get in there and start to paint again. So yeah. I really miss that. Yeah, I dig painting minis. I was a big Warhammer nut for a long time. Played a lot of tabletop Warhammer through the late 90s and into the early 2000s.
That's awesome. Cool. Well, I think we're probably going to wrap it up here. Where can people find you and all that good stuff?
You can put the name Les Garner or LL Garner into about anything and I'll come up. Facebook's a good place to find me. You can find me under for my book Apocalypse Girl. You can look up Apocalypse Girl, or right now, most importantly at the moment, go to homesteadcomic.com and it'll shoot you straight to the Kickstarter page. So hopefully some of y'all will jump on that. We got good stuff coming. The ink effect. Oh yeah. There's a feature. There's a bunch of different rendering methods inside ZBrush that do different things, and then you can create your own custom render methods in there. So I've got a bunch of them that I'll use for different things. I mean, like on some of Apocalypse Girl, there are times when I've used 3D for certain things and then did everything traditional elsewhere. Like sometimes, a lot of times I will pencil my pages digitally, print them out, and then ink them. But like if I'm doing in the first issue of Apocalypse Girl specifically, there's a fight scene where she's taking on these guys that are on a pair of 4-wheelers.
Right.
And I sculpted my 4-wheeler. I built my 4-wheeler 3D, and I put my page together all with all the pencils and everything. And then I drop a 3D 4-wheeler in place for my pencils and get that set up and do a little bit of rendering, then some ink touch up and back and forth, hybridizing the two, print that, and then take the printed page and ink the rest of it. Because I really like the consistency, especially on mechanical stuff. I like having that consistency there. and it's one of those things. It's a set of tricks that, like, I don't know. Sometimes people get shitty about it, and I'm like, well, okay, fine, but I sculpted the damn thing. I did the sculpt, I did the setup, I did all of it. So I've thought about going on to Twitch. I didn't think my boobs were big enough for Twitch though.
This is true.
So yeah, I really I wish there was less stigma about merging all these different kinds of artwork together, these different forms, because in my mind it's like between 3D, digital paint, traditional, they all have strengths and weaknesses, and if you blend them together, and you do it right, you can get some amazing things that you can't get out of any one by themselves.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really know of much stigma between like 3D models and stuff like that. I mean, maybe some people have some, but I mean, it's still created by hand with you. I mean, you're using a mouse instead of a pencil, but I mean, it still takes the amount of skill. I can't do it.
I'm using one of these actually.
Yeah, well, you can use stylus, mouse, pencil, but
yeah, like I've barely touched a mouse in like 30 years. So my stuff's always been tablets and the Wacom's and the Cintiqs and all that.
So they, as a teacher in college, said there's a market for everything and everyone. Yep.
Oh God, that's terrible. I was gonna say, especially in Thailand, there's a market for everyone in Thailand. They sell you for bottom dollar in Thailand.
That's right.
And I say that knowing there's a guy who is literally a super fan of mine who lives in Thailand. But every time I do anything, this guy buys the hell out of it. And he's a super cool dude.
That's cool. We got a couple of things going on too. We got G Busters right now is in pre-launch. That is going to be a fun parody book. Nice. Country girl Katie inherits the Hugh Hefner Playboy mansion only to discover it's haunted with the ghosts of its previous inhabitants. It's going to be a fun romp in the Playboy mansion. And with Comics Illustrated, we have our Spring Fling going on right now. That is our first quarterly special of the year, second overall.
Nice.
And it is actually launched and doing pretty good right now.
Oh, shit.
We are at 1624 after, 2 days? We got 61 backers, 18 days left.
Not bad. That reminds me, hell, you were asking me about projects I got coming up, and, I'd say a project coming up that's done is doing that cover for you guys.
Oh, yeah? Which one?
For Comics Illustrated.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're going to be you already did it. You're this month's cover artist. You're the featured artist for this month for March. So, see, I forget about stuff because in my mind I'm already in April.
Yeah, that's
because I'm a month ahead of everything else. So I always think about the people that are coming out this month as being last month. So I consider them like February. I'm like, oh, I already did that in February with him.
Yeah. No, that's coming out soon.
It's already out.
Oh, is it? Well, shit.
Yeah, that's out right now. We'll pull it up. We'll go to let's see, comicsillustrated.com. I'll go and share that screen here, and we will get that plugged as well. If you want to see Les's gorgeous art on our magazine,
I really like this painting. This painting is loosely an Apocalypse Girl piece, though not exactly.
All right. We have right here Mr. Les Garner, March cover A.
I love the way that came out looking with the logo and stuff in. I mean, that actually...
Yeah, we will open this image in a new tab, get it all by itself here, and we will share that out. Let's see, present, share, and that one, go, boom.
Nice.
Yeah, that's all hand painted, isn't it, Les?
Yeah, it's digital, but yeah, hand painted digitally. I've done enough traditional paintings in the last year that I'm like, it's a little aggravating to do given my current situation, but I can sling digital much easier. Mostly, it's not even the actual work that irritates me to do one-handed. It's the cleanup. Because
Right.
when I get to painting traditional on boards and all that, I'm very messy. So, I mean, very messy. And trying to clean up everything with just one hand to use for it is, I mean, like trying to hold it. If you think about it, you're holding a container, it's got water in it. Well, guess what? You're holding a container, it's got water in it. You don't have two hands to go and do something else with it. So, it's like there's so many different ways. You honestly don't realize, you come to think about things very differently once you like lose the use of a limb, especially a hand. Man, you lose a hand and it's like it messes with you a little bit.
Yeah.
So, but the digital painting is fine. It's fast and it's clean. So
Awesome. Cool. Well, I think that about wraps it up. I appreciate you coming on, Les. Thank you for your time, sir. Thank you for the art lesson. It's fantastic watching you actually do what you do live and in person. That's pretty cool, man.
We should throw up a sketch stream sometimes. It'll actually be some drawing stuff, not just the 3D stuff, man.
Yeah, we could totally do that. We could like throw Mindy on here, put you on here, and we could get something done. We usually do stuff like that on the weekends. We could also schedule during the week sometime, but
do like an art workshop sometime. Just come on and we can talk about stuff and doodle some things together and compare notes and see where it leads.
Hell yeah. All right, man. Cool. Well, thanks for coming on. I appreciate it.
All right, man. Catch you later.
All right, bye. All right, guys. That's it for this episode. Join us next time and appreciate you stopping by.